G'day champions, how the flippin' heck are we? It's time for another live stream. Just going to do the usual little assessment, job assessment stream. Just get some more light in here. That's better. Alrighty then. Looks like we're live. Let's get the old phone happening just so I can tell. Never quite trust OBS to stream without crashing. Why would I? What's on the bench today? Fuck all at the moment. I'm about to get some jobs out and we'll get moving with some assessments, just figure some stuff out, get some pricing together, that kind of thing. Looks like we're live. Happy days. So what do we want to start with? We've got Peavey, we got Marshall, we got Highwatt. Yeah, we got Vox. We got Randall. We got Mesa Boogie, as always. We've got ADA. We have Splawn. We've got DV Mark, another Marshall, and another Marshall. So what do we want to start with? We want to start with, I'll tell you what we bloody start with. We'll start with the heaviest one first, because I'm feeling fittest. We'll start with the Peavey. So I better clear the bench a bit, because this thing's a monster. Yeah, it's good coffee. Yeah. So I just got a new little cheapy tripod. Well, cheap. It's like $70 still. But this was actually made for a projector, like one of those pissy little pocket projectors that projects on a wall like a foot wide, really dull image. But yeah, it happens to have the same thread as the camera, so it's a perfect little choocher for just carrying around. It packs up really small, and it allows me to get a little bit of height. So often I've got a chassis on the bench, you got the valves hanging underneath, you got wooden blocks, my famous wooden blocks, holding the chassis up, and just the little Manfrotto, I don't know how you say that, the little stout tripod thing I've got. It barely gets the camera above the edge of the chassis, so you can't really see anything. I've started, for my produced videos, edited to some degree, I have started using the G85 with its inbuilt stabilization and the nice bloody beautiful Olympus lens there, the 12 to 40 mil. And that gives a nice shallow depth of field, so I can show like the focus on the subject. Like say I'm talking about resistor A, I can show you a resistor A in focus and everything else is blurred out. I go for a pro camera instead of a phone because I just hate phones. The lenses are terrible. The depth of field is almost infinite because the sensor's the size of a grain of sand. I prefer, you know, this is not the world's most professional camera. It's a G85 Panasonic, or Lumix, whatever. Yeah, Panasonic. But it's got to be the best value for money camera that you can get for video work. You can pick them up for like $300 for the body. The inbuilt mic sounds okay, passable if you're close enough. And I'm usually like this over it, so it's picking me up really well. They're just great little cameras, and I think I'll have this one forever, the little choocher. Being a micro 4/3 sensor, it for the same focal length, the lens is really small. So yeah, it works out really well, nice and compact. So this one lives at the shop. I've got another Panasonic that I use for video work in low light, like music, live gigs, just walking around at night, that kind of thing. It's Panasonic GH5S, So it's the low megapixel one, so it makes the sensor more sensitive to low light. And I've got some nice lenses for that too. That one doesn't have stabilization, so the lenses have to be stabilized or have it on a gimbal. Whereas this one, the stabilization's built in, and it's good enough. I'm not walking on the spot while I'm filming amps, so it's nice and stable, reasonably stable for the amp videos. So I'm trying to use this one where I can, instead of just the above view all the time, because it gets a bit monotonous. The above view works for live, but for the edited videos, I like moving around a little bit to keep it a bit fluid. And you can turn the stabilization and get the stabilization off and get the NYPD blue effect. You know, they really overdid that in that show, didn't they? So Peavey first, Steve says. Steve has spoken. Steve wants more. Oh, something's rattling around. So I've done it upside down again, haven't I? G'day, Earco. I don't know if that's your real name. You are from Holland, so all bets are off. How's Holland today? What's the weather like? I suppose it's getting cold there now, eh? Because it's getting warm here. The eastern coals have turned up, so that means it's mating season for those little parasite assholes. I love the sound of them though. It's the sound of summer. Oh yeah, that's the shit. Haven't done my warm-up exercises this morning. Peavey VTM 120. I recently had a VTM 60, and it's one of the best sounding Peaveys I've ever played, especially after we did the work to it. I think we did that one a lot on a live stream as well. It was in shocking condition. Most of it was cleaning. This one's somewhat cleaner. They've all got the Peavey patina. Holland is fine. It's 21 degrees C. That's beautiful. That's about the same as here. Well, at the moment it's like 16, but it will be 21 to 25, something like that. So we've got the same weather. Weather Brothers, champion. So it's lost its front Peavey logo, so now it's not worth anything. But, you know, we all know it's a Peavey. It's made in the USA, and it's 120 watt high gain tutor, or can be high gain depending what input you put it into and what the settings are. But these things are fantastic amps. The only problem with them is they're kind of ugly and they're heavy as hell, but they're really underrated amps, and you can pick them up reasonably cheap because they're not a 5150 or a 6505. So these can be had for under $1,000 easily, when it's getting pretty hard to find any amp under $1,000 these days, particularly a 100 watt head. How you going, Jesse? Yeah, mate, I'm back. All the fun's over. So back to the grind. I'm trying to keep on top of jobs, hence me getting here at 6 a.m. today, and probably won't leave till 6 p.m. Because towards the end of the year, I want to chill out a bit, you know. As the weather gets nicer, I want to have like a barbecue, or just go for a walk around the river, or have an impromptu little camping trip or something, go down to the beach. I want to end the year at lower stress levels. So that means being a bit more selective about jobs too. Not taking in the horror shows, the ones where owners have tried to repair them themselves, that kind of thing. The open-ended jobs where parts are likely unavailable. Things with dead microcontrollers, or main board replacements where they're not available readily. No Behringers, no anything from Music Tribe. I'm not supporting that company anymore. So yeah, just being a bit more selective about the work we take to make sure that we don't do our ass on any of these jobs, because often I'm quoting, like, I might quote 3 hours and it takes like 6, and I still charge them 3 hours. And the only people who complain about me being expensive is the commenters on YouTube, and frankly, fuck them, who cares about them? They're not even in the same country. Like, we're never going to meet, so what do I care? So anyway, the last one, as I said, was in terrible condition, but this one is a lot cleaner. There's still the typical damage here. DC Allen, here you going, a legend. Is there an AC Allen out there? Are you rectified Allen? And there's like an unrectified Allen out there somewhere. 14 degrees C in the UK, but dry, so that's a bonus. We've had nothing but rain, and it's finally cleared up, and it rained for most of my time off and for my wedding. So as soon as all of that was done, the sun's come out and it's warmed up. Typical. We did it up the mountains. We got married. We did do it too, but we got married up the mountains, and yeah, up there it's a bit of a crapshoot as to whether you've got a white sheet of fog in front of you that you can't see anything, or if it's beautiful. And we had a bit of both, but it held out mainly for the big day on Saturday, and then we went down South Coast, and it rained quite a bit. Rained all the way down, but then it cleared up later on, so we did get a few days on the beach, as you probably saw in my little short that I put up. Fully bridge rectified, yeah. So I thought Big Clive was doing a Patreon stream today, but I think I'm off by a week. It's like trying to remember what bin you're putting out each week as to whether he's doing the Patreon or not. I try not to clash, well, partially because I want to watch it, but try not to clash with the other big technical channels that I'm a fan of. So the last one, I took off the metal corners, and I fully like blasted them and repainted them matte black, and they look beautiful after that. I don't think the budget's going to allow that on this one. I did that because it was one of my mates, so I went the extra mile, and it was just also a challenge to see how good we could get the thing looking. This one, I doubt the budget will cover that, because this one's just got to get charged as a job. But, you know, they do the job. Now, the thing with these cabinets is they're so heavy. They're like a chipboard. There's something rolling around in there, which is a bit concerning. Yeah. But, we'll take the back cover off and we'll investigate and procrastinate and messed it. No, I've got to stop saying arm again. There's a bit of gaff tape there for no particular reason. I think he was maybe, since there's a bit of like high vis tape under that, I think he was indicating which socket to plug into, because the writing on these is a bit confusing. It says, well, let's zoom in here. The knobs do protrude a bit, so I'll be gentle. Thanks, Scotty. Speaker outputs, 120 watts RMS, 44 volts RMS. First speaker, second speaker, third speaker, fourth. Okay, so that's saying that you can plug 4 16 ohm speakers in. So total load 4 ohm. And then single speaker system, that's if you only plug one jack in. You've got a not used socket. You've got a 4 ohm minimum, 8 ohm minimum, 16 ohm minimum. So yeah, it's a bit confusing. So if you've got all 4 speakers plugged in, then all 4 have to be 16. Who's going to use 4 speakers, you know? So anyway, just basically follow that bottom row. Plug in 4 ohm, plug in 8 ohm, plug in 16 ohm. Most cabinets have 2 sockets anyway. So you can, if you've got 2 16 ohm cabs, you just plug the first cab into the 8 ohm and then daisy chain that parallel jack into the next 16 ohm cab, and that's 8 ohm. 8 ohm total. A lot of guitarists get very confused about impedances and how they add up and how they, you know, parallel series. They generally don't have to worry about series, because that's either like in the cab wiring, or you know, if you had some custom cable, which to make you'd have to know what you're doing anyway. So just think of pretty much every speaker as a parallel. Jesse's building a telly. Good man. Can I recommend a dual action truss rod? Just those ones you get from, I think you can get them from StewMac, you can get them from Realtone, you can get them from Australian luthier suppliers. I'll show you one. I've got one here. Oh no, Dad. I took that drawer home because it's got fret wire in it. Never mind. They're just a bit of like 5x3mm flat bar welded to on one end welded to some 5mm rod, and then on the other they've got the typical collar. They're nice and low profile. You can route I think they're like 5mm, 5.5mm or 6mm, and if you're out a 1/4 inch slot, round bottom, like so a ball nose cutter, you can fit them nice and snug. Just put a layer of like felt or something underneath them, so if they're not dead tight, sometimes when you've got no tension on the truss rod, because they're dual action, right? Why would you get a dual action unless you intended to use it? There might be times there in certain setups where you've got almost no tension or no tension on the truss rod, and then it's free to rattle. You can nip it up just to take up the slack, but under heavy playing you might still get some rattling, so the felt just helps with that. They do have it like a heat shrink cover on the threaded side of them, so that helps a bit, but the last thing you want is to glue the thing together. Do your frets and everything, hone them, set it up, you know, the thing's pristine and perfect, but then there's a rattle somewhere in the neck. That's a fucking nightmare scenario. So ideally, Jesse, I assume you are building it as an experience, not as the cheapest option, because it certainly ain't. If you did want to just avoid all that process, just get yourself a neck blank that's already got all that done. The only thing I've found is some of the pre-made necks, the welds are really shit. So the truss rods look the same. It's like they're made in the same factory, but the ones that, oh damn it, Big Clive sending out a Patreon stream 15 minutes. Fuck's sake. Clive-o. Maybe we'll troll him from this channel. I'll send you the link. No, I can't do that. It's Patreon. Do I prefer carbon fiber truss rods? No, I don't. I don't even know if you can get them. You certainly can't get carbon fiber truss rods, but you can get carbon fiber reinforcement strips that go in as well as the truss rod. They are handy if you have like a bird's eye neck. So imagine the grain from timber. We're getting way off track here, but that's my profession. Imagine you've got timber, straight grain, dead straight, nice and strong. The grains are all oriented the same way, quarter sawn, very strong piece of wood. Now imagine a burl that's got all inclusions and tiny gaps, and the grain's going like this. Now you've got no clear direction that the grain's going, and the timber, if it's really figured and maybe seasoned a bit too fast, it can warp and change, and it actually doesn't have like structural dimensional strength to the piece of timber. So you find that if you use a truss rod, you'll start developing weird sort of buckles in it as the timber's bowing with the trend of the grain in that various area. It doesn't distribute it doesn't distribute the load. I'm not an English major like Lyle, alright? I think you know that by now. It doesn't distribute the load evenly. So the truss rod gives you the tension, sure, but the carbon fiber evens that tension out and makes it an even bow again. So you only really have to worry about that if you've got heavy bird's eye figuring on the neck. So where were we? Using a screwdriver, because I'm not a butcher. It's not a Peavey butcher. It's kind of therapeutic. using hand tools. So we've got a quad of JJs in there. All the getters look intact. I can see that through the vents. Pop out the little cover. The last one had this part missing. It's just like 3mm. Oh, that's actually plywood. Okay, I thought that was just MDF. But yeah, as a result, the grill was a bit floppy, but this one's complete, so that's cool. It's got that crazy deep texture to the Peavey stuff. I don't even know where you get that stuff from. Throughout the 80s and early 90s, they pretty much use that stuff exclusively, and it's heavy wearing, like it's heavy duty as hell. But I don't know where you find it. It's really thick. It's nice stuff. I like the texture of it. Maybe I've just got a thing for 90s Peaveys. So any evidence of what's rattling? The chassis is loose, sort of rock and rolling around, so that probably means someone's had a go at this. Full set of JJs in there. All the getters are intact on the preamp valves as well, and the apex matched quad of 6L6s. Let's just check the fuse before we go much further. It's the export version. It says on the bottom 220 to 240 volt. Oh, the fuse doesn't look very nice. 2 amp. I think it says 3.15. I seem to remember the 3.15 was for the 120 volt, and it was supposed to be. Oh, that was the 60 watt version though. So yeah, 3.15 amp, and it's got a 2 amp in it. So interesting. Just check for continuity on that fuse. Helps if your meter's actually on the thing. So the flukes, if you get stuck between two settings, it just sits there looking at you like a dickhead. Going, come on mate, select it properly. There we go. We'll give you a nice audible beep. Yeah, the fuse has got continuity. You can't even get that Tilex anymore. Yeah, I didn't think you could. Flex seal over 30 grit ZM paper. Yeah, that's what. It's not even. It feels like 10 grit or something. Yeah, that's about an inch. There'd be about 10 grits. Yeah, it's heavy stuff, but that's why it's so tough wearing. Back when Peaveys were strong and sheep were scared. Big chunky feet. The rubber's starting to dry out a bit and starting to crack where the tension is concentrated near the base. You can see there, it's just the rubber's just starting to go really hard and cracked. Ozone attacks rubber, makes cracks like that. That's why you can't use old tires, even if they've never been used before. Especially on a motorcycle where, you know, one slip and you're fucked. High side. Looks like there is one replacement foot. It's a bit more rounded than the others and looks a bit more supple. So I've got 27 champions here right now. That's pretty good. That's good for my little channel. Yeah, everyone else gets like 500 viewers or something, but alright, the chassis should be free, so I'll tilt that back down again, move the cabinet away, slide it out, I'll be right back. Forgot about the screws in the end, as always. They're loose as hell. I've got the weird American threads, couple of missing screws for the valence. finger caught. Something's stuck. Gotcha. Yeah, so there's a bit of Tilex caught up underneath it. Your typical dirty ass Peavey cabinet. You get it on any amp where there's a top vent. Let me just change some settings here. Oh, you gotta go to work, Jesse. Have fun at work, mate. Oh, Ed, you just bought one of these amps. They sound great, don't they? Tip top amps. So I'm going to do what I always do and just get the Velcro out and tie up my mains cable because it's not detachable. It doesn't have an IEC socket. Now I'm going to change my settings so this stream is monetized because I'm a little YouTube clickbait whore. That's me. Content. Got some more videos coming up. I've scheduled a few. I've actually edited 3 videos last night, and they're all in the barrel ready to get fired off. That's pretty impressive for me because I'm not that organised normally. I've just been trying to actually finish work at like 6, 7, and then I don't consider video editing as work per se. Although it kind of is, but it's my hobby. Playing with cameras and shit. Sweet as. So yeah, I'll stick a bit of Velcro around here just to keep the cable tame. Very exciting stuff, I know. And by the time one of these amps gets here, it's already had 3 or 4 plugs. They've always got these hardware store ones. I don't think that's what they came with. So, do we clear the valves with the transformers? Yes, we do. So we can just flip it straight over, no need for blocks. And what do we have here? So someone's been in here before. We have, I think we might have had a recap here. I think they've replaced, those 4 100 microfarad 450 volters. I think they've replaced all the caps actually at some point. It looks like a long time ago though. But they might be okay still. Someone's run a wire, which looks suspicious because it's really long and it just goes back where it came from. So that's concerning. All the solder joints on the sockets have been reflowed because they've got massive blobs of solder on them. You got the original 100 ohm screen grids, which should be upgraded. You've got cracked solder joints on the valve sockets and lifted pads on the plate connection. Got some pretty crusty soldering work. We've got wire, bus wire run where they've pulled pads off the board. Oh yeah, recap. Thanks mate, it says it over to the right. Recap, replace power valve sockets Feb 2016. They're not power valves, are they? They're output valves. 2016. Okay. So why'd you rip the pads, champion? There's quite a bit of residue from whatever they tried to clean it with. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull out the job sheet, check it out. I like to inspect anyway, but let's see what the fault description was. Not before I have more coffee. So I just got up last night for a midnight chocolate. It's a habit of mine. Get up for a wee, go have a little chocky while you're up. And the last one, Ferrero Rocher. I thought this is good. It's got these little things here. That'd be perfect for when you're doing like big effects units or keyboards. Pop your different types of screws in, go sequentially as you take the thing apart, and then as you put it back together you work your way backwards. And it's made in a nice metal can that won't crack. I thought I'll nick that, and if you put it away with the thing and you maybe I'll put a bit of like open cell polyurethane foam in there so it pushes against them, so if you drop the container the screws will stay in each compartment. I thought I'll nick that. That's nice. That can live here now. I'm not a hoarder, but I like things that are useful. Jerry, you got a Valve King 212 from Guitar Center. First Peavey, so we'll see how it goes. Yeah, the Valve King's alright. Sorry, excuse me, just scratching my opposite shoulder. See you, DC, Alan. I've never been lucky enough to find an amp in a dumpster. Neither have I. I've only found banana peels and boots and shit. Scott says, Brad, maybe you could do a Q&A, something like Lyle's last stream. Nah, Lyle's a lot smarter than me. No one wants to hear my answers. Jerry London, his cabinet was cracked. That was on the Valve King. 15 minutes to fix it. Going through it to check values before powering up. Yeah, cool. Yeah, sometimes if it's a plywood cabinet, you can use some epoxy resin or something and just really soak the shit in there and clamp it up overnight, and it's good as new. The last one of this one, the chipboard had been moisture affected, so what I did was thin down some, you could use PVA glue, but I used the yellow glue, you know, the aliphatic resin. Thinned it down and just put it on a roller and just rolled it on, and it soaked into the chipboard and sort of re-glued it together. Did that a few times to get a bit of a build up, and then I just sprayed matte black over that and it worked really well. Almost killed yourself getting it out of the dumpster, by the way. I'm 70, so it's a bit of a tussle. Come on, mate, there's people that are 70 that run marathons. No excuse. Black one, maybe not the grey. Mine is that wire going over the PCB2. I'm not talking about this one because that's negative feedback, I believe. Well, that's going to the speaker jack, so that's likely what it's one of the taps. So that's negative feedback, that blue one there. What I'm talking about is down here, and this is nonsensical. So when you see work like this, it instantly makes you ask questions about the rest of the work. So you've got a wire that is like a foot long, yeah, probably about that, and it goes under the board and then comes across, loops back on itself, and then is joined there. So is that just so they can lift the board in the future? Because there's nothing really hardwired to it, so why would you bother? And the fact that they've marked on the board where the negative is, it looks like the work's okay-ish, but you know, the caps aren't secured at all. They've taken off the glue. You can see the footprint where the glue was. On that side there's still the glue blobs. On this side you can see the footprint of where the glue blobs were, but they haven't gone to any effort to re-secure them. So seeing work like that, instantly you should have red flags when you see work like that, because that means that their carelessness there likely extends to everything else they did in the amp too. So it makes you look a little bit more closely at it. You know, this is probably acceptable to most people, but and it's lasted this long, but it has, something has failed. So what's failed? Is it part of their work? Is it a passing black hole? Is it dark matter? Nobody knows. So let's dig in and find out. Oh, I've got to do some invoicing. I've got lots of amps ready, but I need to sit down and actually type up their job sheets. Yeah, that's done, that's done. That's still got to be done. Did I do a job sheet for this? Surely. What the hell? Don't tell me I didn't do a job sheet. Bear with me. I don't get how every time a job comes in, I do a job sheet and I put it on the amp. In so many amps, that just didn't happen. It's when you come in and you get a customer. Not saying this is the case with this one, but what often happens is you come into the customers, and you can't get a fucking word in. You literally, your head's spinning because you're trying to talk to this guy and you're trying to do something else, and your phone rings, and then you're trying to find your job sheets and the guy's just and you can't stop him. So you often don't take down critical details. It's really hard to say to a customer, can you just shut the fuck up for 5 seconds so I can write a job sheet, please? Because there's no nice way of saying that. That definitely did not happen with this customer, but that can happen, and that's usually the reason I haven't written a job sheet. As for this one, I'll probably just put it down somewhere because I was getting married that week and it was an absolute fucking nightmare whirlwind. So let me just look. You know what I think I've done? I've left it in my notepad at home. So I was going to write up a job sheet for it, and it didn't happen. Steve Moore, you're going to come over there and work in my shop for a few days. No, you're fucking not. But you ask permission first. Presumptuous asshole. Anyway, let's give it some juice. We'll see what's going on. Now, I was having a bit of an argument with Dad about this. So, this unknown amp, I like to give it fuck all power, voltage I mean, from the wall, and just check that all the voltages are sort of present where they should be, all that kind of thing. Like we've got some kind of negative voltage on the control grids. Just taking the piss, Steve. I knew you'd I was hoping you'd take it lightly, and you did. So you're a champion. Lots of people get really cut. They don't understand the humour. Well, you know what? The humour is it's an automatic filter. It gets rid of the fuckwits, so it works well. Aussie humour. I think that's why Aussies have the kind of humour that we have, because it automatically filters out people that you really just don't have time for. Just by virtue of your mannerisms. It's good. You should try it. Be a fuckwit more often. So I like to do that on the Variac. Just slowly give it a little bit of voltage, check that everything's roughly where it should. Maybe give it 10%, give it 24 volts AC, see if voltages are roughly what you'd expect. They'll be way out of whack. Some of them that have zero load will be possibly a percentage of what you would expect to see them. Others will be like regulated lines and stuff will be just non-existent. But at least you can see that the voltage is roughly where they should be and that they're in the right polarity. Dad just likes to raw dog them, just like bang, 240 volts. Yeah, trial by fire. You live, you die, you go up in flames. At least then we know what component we've got to change. So, yeah, we're in a bit of point of contention about that. I still like to do the Variac thing and gingerly give it a bit of power, but Dad's just like, click, oh, now we know what's wrong. I suppose the point of view is that's what the customer did. So, you know, if something's going to go open circuit, it's already gone open circuit. If something's shorted out, well, it'll blow a fuse or it'll smoke. Just don't do it in Mesa Boogies. Do it in any other amp, almost any other amp, particularly hand-wired stuff, you'd be fine. But you're doing it in Mesa Boogie, you're just going to burn the PCB, but chances are it already is, so whatever. If the amp dies, it dies. That's right. I'm not affected by flooding, where we'd have to have we're pretty low here at the shop. At home, like it'd have to be a like 500 meter tsunami to hit me at home because I'm up the hill. But here there's the local river, which is the Nepean River, just west of Penrith. That borders Emu Plains and Penrith, and the river at the moment I think is maybe 2 meters above peak, and we've been getting some serious rain. It hit a peak last floods, I think, of 9.5 or something above average. It would have to be something like 15 meters to get here, and I don't think that's ever happened. So, you know, they're saying one in a 100 year, 1 in 50 year, 1 in 1,000 year flood. All of that's changed. With the recent weather patterns, which are not normal, things have changed that make a big difference. Our government is buying land back off residents because it shouldn't have been zoned for residential. Those houses have been there 100 years, and it's only been a major problem recently. We'd have floods every 50 years or so, but it's happening every year. Like, what the hell? You know something's going on when the government is spending money to buy land back off residents that they've had for 100 years. So anyway, moving on. So let's give it a bit of juice. Turn the Variac down. Plug into the Lick Me socket. Now I'll plug the speakers in just so if there's any weird hums or anything we can hear it. You don't get that from a dummy load. 16 ohm. I've got a 16 ohm test speaker just because that's what I had when I made the box. Set everything to 12 o'clock. We'll get some meters on it. I'll check the output dissipation so we can see as it starts to conduct. It's nice and easy on this one because you've got little turret things on the circuit board. I've got my meters still set up from the last amp. We've got the mains current meter. We've got nothing in focus and nothing in frame. There we go, that's better. I've got my gut hanging over the bench. I've got to get I fit into the wedding suit, but it's I'm gonna have to, yeah, do things. We'll say that. But then we go home and have a beer. Get on there. So Mercury Magnetics fucked me on the last amp. It was a Express 525 Mesa. Focus, please. You don't come here for focus, mate. In any sense of the word. Where was I? Yeah, Mercury Magnetics. A replacement for a Mesa 525 Express. The customer installed it and lots of things went wrong. Let's just leave it at that. So I addressed those things and put it together, and there was this god awful scream, like 4 kilohertz or something it sounded like, and Michelle was at the front counter and she's like, what the fuck? So yeah, they gave me the wrong color codes on the transformer, so everything was wired as per the Mesa Boogie transformer, but the phase was reversed. And then they also gave a bum steer on the power transformer. I'll show you. This is all the stuff the customer provided. Even laminated these. I don't know if maybe Mercury laminates them for you. I doubt it. See, look, overexposed. But you know what? I've got my little knob on the side of the camera preset to adjust the iris. How's that? So we're at f4.0. So Mercury Magnetics, Mesa P240. So you can see here straight away you're like, what the hang on, what? Like red, that's your high tension. Your center tap's always red yellow, yeah, but they've written bias, so the customer got confused and connected that to the bias. Blue center tap, no it's not, that's your bias, and that was the color on the previous one. So here the transformer's right, the documentation's wrong, and on the output transformer, not sure, well, you know, generally that'll show this corresponds to that, right? Or they'll have a dot on the side to show that the wirings line up. So this primary I had to reverse. Now your black and your green and yellow measured as they should, but this had to be wired opposite so it didn't oscillate. So on this one the transformer was wrong, and on the other one the documentation was wrong. So that was fun. Reverb transformer was correct, and the choke, well, you know, not much can go wrong with the choke. It's only one coil. So that was a little bit more time, but you know, there's always something with a Mesa Boogie. There's never easy and straightforward. There's always some little gotcha, whether it be Mesa's fault or the transformer manufacturer in this case. So I'll just check the resistance of those primaries. We'll do an idiot check and make sure there's no voltage there too. Yeah, none on any of the caps. Check on the actual caps. Lead to lead. Yeah, everything's dead as a doornail. Ironically, there's 3.9 volts on the low voltage supply and 9 volts on the bias supply, and nothing on the HT. But 9 volts ain't gonna kill us, mate. So I'll just, you probably see here, now gotta open the iris back up. Open up iris. You can see there that little turret is not quite enough wire to get the connections happening there. Let's pull that out a little bit for measurement purposes so I can get two IC clips on there. Yeah, B-side, there was no damage, it was just oscillation, just annoying. Often when you're building something from scratch and it's an unknown transformer, you don't know whether the coils are synced up without using a scope to check it out, feeding it some signal. Jace, how you going, brother? How's your bloody knee reconstruction going? That looks like a hell of a thing. Alright. So we've just got the meters hooked up to check that the output stage is conducting. Right there, I can see we've got a broken pad. So I'm going to put a wire there right now because, well, that's not going to work. We can see that. That's probably the core. That's probably the fault, but I'll just see if there's any other faults as well. I know that's going to be an issue because having no connection to a plate pin. Get a bit of bus wire for now. I'll do it properly later. But what do we know, children? There is no more permanent solution than a temporary fix. No, we'll do it properly. Home tomorrow, that's good, man. I was thinking about this while Lyle was doing his stream. Someone asked about kits, I think. How do you deal with what must be a massive influx every time you sell something of, like every time you start a new product line, of just people that can't read, people that don't know how to solder, people that have never built shit before and building horrible shit that's got your name on it? I mean, I'd love to sell kits, but the questions I get just doing these videos, you're just like, mate, you should not open that amp with that question you just asked. So how do you deal with it? You are much more polite and well-mannered than I am. I'm just an arrogant cockhead, but you're a gentleman. But surely sometimes you have to take a few deep breaths before you respond to an email. Go on, tell us some horror stories. I get guys demanding that I tell them how to fix an amp. Like, tell me how to fix it now. It's like, what? Has that ever gotten you anywhere in life? If it has, Jesus, I want to move where you are and be an asshole like you. Like, who demands someone that you've never met do something for them and actually gets results? Surely that's not the norm. So 38 ohms on that side. Oh, that's scary. No, just dodgy connection. 29 ohms on that side. Had me worried there for a while. No kits, just supply the PCB, the rest is on you. Okay, but they wouldn't accept that, surely. People want everything for free these days, and they want you to hold their hand through everything for no charge. So how do you go there? You just got to make your documentation really good, I guess. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, supplying the kits is where you'd fall over, isn't it? If you supply just the board, it's like the people that supply just the loaded turrets. Sort of like one step up from that, I guess. The turrets though, like there's no designators, there's nothing, there's no instructions, it's just like, mate, we're in the words of Bricktop, If I give a dog a bone, I don't want to know if it tastes good. Start a DIY Facebook group. And yep, that's a good move. My local butcher here, Scotty, he did the same thing. He's a very smart businessman, and he started a business out of fuck all. He created a smokers group on Facebook. Now it's got, I don't know, 2,000 members or something crazy, considering it's not the biggest town. Everyone promotes his meat without him doing anything, and shows beautiful photos of the finished product. And because no one's going to do a brisket and then show you a dried up piece of shit, they're just not going to post it, are they? They'll be ashamed of it. So they only post the videos of them cutting, the black gloves on the nice timber chopping board, and it's nice and moist, and it's moving like with the knife, and it folds up, looks beautiful, and then everyone goes, oh fuck, that's alright, I want to get one of them for next weekend or for tomorrow. And they go to Scotty's and they buy a brisket, for $100. So he created a group where everyone does free advertising for him and shouts his praise with every post. And all he has to do is jump on there and say thanks guys, and then chuck his promos up and do his own, I don't know, 1 or 2 posts a week. But other than that, it's a self-propelling automatic free advertising machine. Good work, Scotty. So yeah, starting the DIY Facebook groups, good idea. I am not that smart. I just started ones for repair where I don't sell anything and I just give free support. Damn it. People's time is worth money. Never complain about paying for someone's advice or help. The problem is solving stuff remotely is damn near impossible unless someone knows what you're talking about, knows the terminology, knows what you're asking them, and knows how to measure it, and knows the implications of what that measurement means without you having to hold their hand. That's very rare, because usually if anyone has gotten that far, they would have gone further and figured it out themselves. So what happens is they reach out, quick question, it always starts with quick question. My amp's not working. What do I do? Well, yeah, that's a quick question. The answer's not fucking quick. And you have to break it to them that no signal can be caused by literally almost anything in that amplifier having failed. And every day I see different shit that I've never seen before. So you got to break it to them that there's a reason that there's no millionaires in this industry, because none of it's easy. We don't drive around Audis and BMWs. We leave that to the air conditioners next door. And it's not easy, and it's not quick, and it's expensive, and there's no shortcuts. And then they get upset because they think you're lying and you're gatekeeping. And then they try it themselves, they fuck it up way worse, and then they want you to fix it for free because you talked to them once. So yeah, that's fun, but then you're on the other side of the planet, so you can just go fuck off, and they can't come to your front door, so that's handy. So where were we? Alright, we've got the meters hooked up. We can check for dissipation. I'll put an alligator clip on the ground of the meter I'm going to use to probe voltages, just to check that everything's where we expect it, and you guys can laugh when the old smoke comes out. Be good if I can find my alligator clips. That'll do. Just like IT guys get no respect, and it's bullshit. It's like people get really aggressive when they don't understand a technology, because they think you're obfuscating it to rip them off. Like, people will pay for a plumber because they understand pipes have water in them and water goes downhill or whatever, and it's just messy and annoying. But they'll pay a plumber. That's why plumbers drive around in fucking Raptors and shit, because people understand that they don't want to do it and they don't feel ripped off, because it seems like, you know, they know what it is. With IT and electronics, engines, mechanics, anything that's got a complex system that requires a fair bit of understanding, you can't talk to them in technical terms because they think you're trying to bamboozle them, and people think you're trying to rip them off, and they question every price, and they want itemized price, itemized quotes, and they want to cross-reference the part numbers and see if they can get it cheaper, even though, you know, they're not taking into account that it's the wrong part or shipping costs or whatever. Not only that, but they don't value the time it took to actually diagnose stuff, because it took you 10 minutes to find that one, you charge me an hour. It's like, because it didn't take me 10 minutes just then to learn how to find that fucking problem. It took me 10 years. You're paying for that 10 years. There you go. No light reflecting off the meters now. All right, let's give it a bit of juice. I'll give it some signal as well, just to, when we fire it up a bit further, we can check that it's doing the things that an amplifier should do. So we'll flick that on, turn both switches on, set it to DC volts. I'll set it to AC first. We'll check what we've got. Give it 24 volts or thereabouts. And we've got no voltage. We on? Yes, we're on. Oh, because I didn't put the fuse back in. Fuck. Yeah, until it's Friday. Let's do that, eh? Let's put the fuse back in. It's only got the 2 amper, but we'll put that in for now. Let's try that, eh? How you going, Alan? Yeah. Welcome back to the old married man. Where's his old stuff coming from, mate? I thought we were mates. 50 volts. 25 because they're split. 50. 25 because they're split as well. 3.9 volts. Minus 3 point. What? 3 point. Oh yeah, that's the DC. That's the low voltage supply. And we've got minus 9 volts. Minus 9 volts on the bias. So that's good. Let's check the actual sockets. 50 volts, yeah. 3.9. Have to have a look at the schematic, what that one is. Minus 8, so it's getting bias feed to every valve. Oh, so it's got DC heaters. That's right. Yeah, there was something weird about that. It was had DC on the outputs as well, or something. 3.9. Nah, I'm just measuring an offset there because it's floating. They've probably referenced the heater line to a voltage. I have to double check the schematic. Thanks, Alan. So just like IT, you try to solve something remote, and you have to figure out how many lies they are telling you. Yeah, what the fuck? In the process, because they won't admit they screwed up. Yeah, it's got to be the software's fault. It's your fault. You're the developer. I've been there. I use CAD software by a relatively small company called Python, and they're German. And they don't fix stuff for a very long time. However, I put it in a spreadsheet, give them a report. Sorry, there's a speck of crap on the screen right where I'm trying to read your comments. But yeah, amps. People won't admit that they tried to do it themselves. And you'll say, did you buy this amp new? They're like, yeah. and there's like just hacked up shit everywhere, and you try to get the story out of them, and then they clam up, and then they become a bit defensive, and you're like, well, I'm letting you know that there's a lot of horrible shit in this amp. If you bought it from someone as new, you might want to go back to them and say, what the fuck? But then it turns out in the long run that they're the one that did it all and didn't want to tell you. It's like, do you think, if you think I'm at a level where I can't tell that you've done this stuff, why are you trusting your amps with me? Oh, I don't know, it's weird. People are weird. Hey George Bush, how's being the next US president? Fool me once. Alright, so we'll jack that voltage up. Everything's happy where it should be. I'll just check the what am I trying to say? The preamp valve pins. Make sure they're all getting HT. And they are. We're drawing 7 watts, which is 2/3 of fuck all. We'll crank that up. It's going up to 12 watts at about, well, the measurement on the Variac's pretty inaccurate, so we'll just measure with the meter. So it's 70 volts. That's actually not too bad. 70 volts, we've got 12 watts. 20 watts at 100. It seems a little low to me for a 100 watt head with the heaters. $25 watts at 140. I think we're happy to keep going. Lights are lit up on the front panel. Help if you turn the function generator on. And we've got signal. Let's turn it down a bit. I know how much is love 1 kilohertz. Let's draw 40 watts. Just a bit crackly. Desk phone ticket. My desk phone quit working. It's not like I poured coke in it or anything. Yeah, I think I was telling you that my old man used to work for one of the major gambling machine companies here, and they had the machines you put your ticket in, like Keno machines, and when people gambling addicts, like, they put their last $10 in and it comes back, they haven't won anything, they just lose their shit, because, you know, how are they going to pay rent for the next week? It's only Friday, they got paid yesterday and they've already spent their paycheck on gambling. That's another epidemic in this country. Just nonsensical fucking gambling ads everywhere, like Triple M radio station. Every second ad is gambling. Points bet, sports bet, you know, fucking give us all your money and we'll give you fuck all in return. So these people get the shits and they pour their beer into the machine, and they've designed the machine so it's got little gutters and internal drain system, so it goes in. It might fuck up the thermal printer or something, but they just change the module out. But all the motherboard and everything's protected by like these little gutters, and they divert the fluid down to like a little tray down the bottom, which it's like designed for fuckwits to pour beers into. It's pretty cool. So it's like the guy that brought in a smoke-free at power station and blown 100 watt flexi. Are these issues related? No. So free at power station, that is an attenuator, yeah? And the 100 watt 74 plexi is an amp that people like to turn to 11 into an attenuator. it's an ongoing thing. If you want the amp in its natural state circuit, you can't be cranking the thing fully up. It's not designed for that. People think of plexis as like invincible amps that you can just abuse the fuck out of and they'll just keep going. No, you'd have to up the screen grid resistance to some massive amount or regulate it with Zeners or something, because what happens is when you crank that thing up that hard, the HT sags to a level where the screen grid tries to be the plate, and it can't, because it can only dissipate like 4 watts or something. So it melts and you get a screen grid short, and then that takes out other shit and stuff. Well, here we are again. Yes, we are. It's Friday. Friday morning was supposed to be my regular live streams before all hell broke loose, workload wise and personal life wise. We're the live streaming kings, Lyle, you and I. So we've got a VTM 120 for anyone that's joined us recently. Okay, now it's cut out. In the time that we were just talking, oh no, it's come back. So something's intermittent. Could be that pot. Someone has cut a capacitor down there, one of those tiny little caps that looks like a tiny resistor, but it's only got 3 bands. I suppose that's probably the bright cap for that pre-vol. All right, well look, let's attenuate it even further. Give us some square wave at a low frequency. Excuse me. This is how I test the EQ. Give it something with a lot of harmonics. You test the low frequency there, mid and high, and presence. Next I'll just check the effects jacks. It takes quite a bit of movement to make that cut out, so I don't think they're a problem. So I might just need a service and just to check over. Check the shorting jacks and the speaker. They appear to be okay. So I'm going to give it a bit of a play, punish you guys with my shit playing. Let's give it full voltage and see where the bias sits. And my mate's ringing me that rings me every day. Talk to you later, mate. Piss off the Variac, since we know there's no catastrophic faults, or you know, there might be. Let's see. Butcher with added dip switches, yeah, pretty much. I like them though, eh? Jason, how are the pain meds treating you? Well, that's the only reason he's here, Lyle. You've got to be on something to watch my channel. You can't do it sober. Bang! Oh, we're drawing 50 watts in standby. Settling to 49, 48, and dropping. Oh god, I had a partial pneumothorax a couple of years ago. Fuck, last house, so over 10 years ago. Jesus, feels like yesterday. Shell and I had just got together, and she's taken me to hospital at 3 in the morning because my lung had come away from my chest lining. And when your lung collapses like that, your chest lining's really rough because it's supposed to hold onto your lung, right? So your lung's moving and your chest chest cavities staying still as you breathe in and out, and it's rubbing against the inside of your chest cavity, and it happened to be at my back, like right under my shoulder blade. So they thought that's one of the symptoms of a heart attack. So they thought it might be, you know, something to do with my heart. Put me on the ECG or whatever it is, EKCGFLMNOP, and you know, nothing wrong there. So they did an X-ray and found that the lung had come away from the lining. That can just happen when you like sneeze or cough, have a coughing fit, something like that. It can just randomly happen from exercise. So they put me on, God, what starts with an E? What's the painkiller? The real strong shit. I won't say epinephrine, but that's the opposite. Endone. They put me on endone, and the first dose did nothing. So they gave me another dose and sent me home, and I'm getting phone calls from work saying, "No, you got to come in. I don't care." So I turned my phone off, and I took the second dose as I got into the car because the painkillers did nothing. The endone did nothing. Didn't make me drowsy. Didn't get rid of the pain at all. It was still getting more intense. So I had the second dose as I got into the car to head back, and it hit me when we were driving about halfway home. And yeah, pleurisy, that's similar, yeah. And we had a mirror in our hallway where I walk into the house, and it was like 5 or 6 in the morning, so Shell hadn't slept all night and she had to go have a shower and go to work because she's a saint. And she ran into the shower and jumped in the shower, and after sorting me out, and I'm standing there in front of the mirror looking at my face on endone, just staring at my face. And she has a shower, gets ready, comes back, and I'm still standing there staring at my face, just going, whoa. She's like, go to bed, idiot. And it took me like 2 weeks to get over that. No, it wasn't that bad, Richard. It just came good by itself, but I had to sleep on my chest so the lung wasn't rubbing against the cavity. It was like, you don't think about your lungs being sacks of stuff that move around. It was about time, Variac boy. Dad's here. He's already putting shit on me. Alright, this one's for you, Dad. If the smoke comes out, I'm sending you the bill. 86 watts, 93 watts. That's very cold. 90 watts for 100 watt head. So that's very cool bias. A little bit of an imbalance there. I don't think the resistance was that far out. Yeah, what were we on? So we're only pulling 45 watts, so about 11 watts per valve. So about 30% bias. This is just guesses from the wall. So yeah, very cold bias. Anyway, let's plug in and have a listen. I'm not going to play with the dip switches, but I don't know that there's anything major wrong with this thing now we've fixed that broken trace. That was probably it. Nope. Giants are here. Let's go full gain. Let's go drop D. That sounds nice, I like that. They've taken the bright cap out, so it's a bit darker than usual, which is, actually don't mind that. That's okay, that'd sound good cranked up, although I've got the presence all the way down too. Any you guys had the Electro Harmonix MiG 50 on the bench. Yes, I have. Wondering if it's remotely similar to the original. Oh, no, I had the original. Do you bias mod the original 5150s when they come in? What, like, to get hotter range out of them? Yeah, it sounds okay, doesn't it? For what it is. I'll deafen you, hang on. There's a crackle there. You know what that is, it's my phone. I can hear that digital repetitiveness to it. So, plastic switches, you had them replaced too. I wondered about these. Could we put, because they're just headers, could we put some kind of better switch in there or something? That's actually got signal present on it, so we can't really go throwing big lines out to a switch box or something, but yeah, maybe like a little header and then put a relay box or something. I don't know, something cool to make it repetitively switchable for studio work. But you know, most of it you can just EQ it, eh? See, a bit crackly. Just got no problem supplying the juice now that you guys are deaf. Cop that. So I think we're just in for a service for this one. Is that someone trying to get in at 7:57 AM? Champions, anyone still there? 24 people still there. Bloody hell. He's got nothing at all to do, have you? Thanks for speaking amongst yourselves. I just sold a guitar. Where are we? Just looking back through the chat. Back when we were talking about Peavey bias, 15% or so. Yeah, what is the go with triple rectifiers being biased at like 8%? I guess the PCBs wouldn't take it if they were biased any hotter, would they? Alrighty then. Probably replaced 20 or so switches on the MiG 100s. Was that the channel switch? You should only be allowed in if you agree to appear on the live stream. Yeah. I remember to hit mute. Wondering how many people are hearing you piss all the way back in the house. Yeah, those compressors, built-in compressors, can be real bitches. I've set this not to compress. It's just got gain attenuated by some ridiculous amount. The piss vein comment was pretty funny. Yeah, piss vein is funny. Lyle's stream was great. It was an honour to squash all of his bots. I remember the hot mic scene in was a Naked Gun. it was like piss went for like 20 minutes. Oh yeah, someone's talking about it. Yeah, so Lyle, to get rid of the bots, what you want to make is make it so only. Well, now you've got enough subscribers that you will have a lively chat, even if you make it so just subscribers can comment, and also make it so subscribers that have subscribed for like 3 days plus can comment, and no one else can comment. That way it makes people subscribe if they want to have their say, otherwise they can fuck off back into the ether. And it also makes it so bot accounts can't figure out that they've got to subscribe to you and have done so 3 days before in order to spam your live chat with stuff that no one's ever going to click, because no one's that fucking stupid anyway. Yes, live stream subs only. Well, let everyone watch it, because it will bring in more subs, but make it so only subs can comment, and make it so minimum 3 days subbed, so it can't just sub straight away and then comment straight away. I have 0 bots on my live streams now because I've set it to that, and I don't care about being viral. I'd rather keep it small, so I know each of you individually, and it's not just cockheads talking about the way I look. Yes, and one thing to do is what I'm doing right now. I'm scrolled back like 5 minutes and I'm reading, and I'm only moving the chat once I've read stuff, so that way you don't miss anything. It means you're a bit behind, but it also means you catch everything, and you can delete people saying stupid shit. I see how many people watch a video versus like versus subscribe, and it can be a little frustrating. Well, you just got to not give a fuck, because you got a real job, mate. Might want to put on super thanks. I put super thanks on, but just because sometimes I go down a bit of a rabbit hole with someone and we actually solve a problem, and it gives them an opportunity to just give me a little boot of thank you, shout me a skewy, that kind of thing. You know what a skewy is? Aussies, New Zealanders, don't tell them what a skewy is. What's a skewy? You international viewers? Shout me a skewy. Now! It's Friday! It's not midday yet, it's 8:18 AM. Oh, Scott, did you give Lyle an awesome brown box? That sounds like something you'd expect from Elaine. Yeah, we didn't get the notification, but how long ago did you schedule that though? Yeah, that's right, B-side. I prefer to know the cockheads that I talk to. Oh, Jace, you gave it away. We'll pretend that we're dead. Alright, so I think I'm going to pull that board because that rivet looks loose. Basically, I think it's just a lot of not great work from the sockets being replaced, and then just needing a general service, clean. So I'll quote for a service and then add a little bit to pull that output valve board, and they have not removed the rivet, so that's not trivial. But there's no traces on the other side anyway, so I don't need to pull it. I just need to run some wires. Maybe just resolder that. Maybe just resolder that turret. So I think we've just got bad connections on the valve board. So Lyle, what camera are you using? That camera looked better than an iPhone. You had the shallow depth of field that we all know and love. Alrighty, I'll get rid of that cabinet. I'm becoming less of a guitar nerd and more of a camera nerd. I couldn't give a shit about what pickups you got, but what lens have you got? Because it's my hobby. And when you turn your hobby into your job, it's no longer as fun. I'll just quickly show you this one. I was going to do a video on this, but it's boring. It's boring to me anyway. So it's a DV Mark Frank Gambale. Just Class D tutor. Two separate power supplies, linear power supply at the front. That's the filter caps there, valves there, heater and higher tension. And then it's got the Class D proprietary output board. Now this one is functioning, but there's a whine, a high frequency whine, but it's only audible because it's in the audible frequency range where it should be in the multiple tens of kilohertz range, multiple hundreds of kilohertz range, sorry. So something's gone wrong. I played with the components in the frequencies, like the clock circuit for the chip, not really clock, but the components that determine the switching frequency of the PWM controller. Now the PWM controller's down there, and look, they've done a little dirty trick, and I don't like this, but the only saving grace is they don't do this anymore, so that's good. And this amp's from a fair while ago. So they've ground the number off the PWM chip, and that's a bit of a showstopper because now you don't have access to a data sheet. You don't know what value those ceramic caps are or what they're supposed to be. Bali rhymes with Simbali. Thanks, mate. So grinding the numbers off a PWM controller chip makes it so you've got to go back to the company and either get their support or get them to replace the board or get them to repair the board. Keeping everything in-house, that's fine, but have the parts, possibly. We got to the bottom of it. These guys really helped me out. They always do. And it's the same chip they use on pretty much everything. So all their bass amps, the Mark bass stuff, everything, it's all the same chip. So now I've got a bunch of them. We can sort that out. I'm just waiting for them to arrive from Element 14, but otherwise it works okay. I probably wouldn't put out full power because the transformer would be on the verge of saturation at that lower voltage, but it is functioning just. We're waiting on the parts for that one. Let's have a look at this one. Oh, thanks, B-side. On your legend. Yeah, help me destroy my liver. Thanks, mate. They just opened a brewery tap house around the corner, like literally 5-minute walk away. It's a company called Mountain Culture, very highly regarded beers, and it's actually where we had the day after my wedding on Sunday. Up at Katoomba was their original one in an old fire station, but they've opened a massive factory down, or warehouse down here with a tap room as well, so that's going to be detrimental to my health in a good way. So a vintage modern. Let's look at the job sheet for this baby. There was a lot of that, wasn't there, Rico? It's like, what's your opinion on insert amp I just bought? Please validate me. I had a little giggle every time I saw someone ask that question, because you're like, you know that they just bought that amp. Alright, so this was fine 6 months ago, not used since, switched on recently, and now it hums. Service, get working at minimum cost, righto. Sounds good. So let's just fire it up and have a listen, eh? It's in pretty good nick, and I don't mind the vintage moderns. They sound alright. I'm sure Jace has 1,000 mods for him to make him killer machines. I generally don't have time for that shit. I'll get into modding one day, but at the end of the day, just buy the amp that sounds good, that suits you. Fuse looks okay. T1A, that's the high tension fuse. I've pulled my lead out, now I've got to plug it back in, for fuck's sake. Got to be honest but civil with customers. Yeah, damn straight. You can't stand there sniffing each other's farts, but you got to be personable with them. I mean, it's like any relationship. It's enjoyable if it's enjoyable. Does that make sense? No. I want to feel like I'm having fun and happy at work. So why would I be an arrogant prick to customers? Because that would make me feel unhappy. And when there's a close brewery and I know that I'm going to have a triple IPA after work, then it's pretty easy to be happy. There's very few amps I like, that's true. You ask a mechanic which car's the best, you'll get the same answer. They all suck. Well, when you see broken stuff all day, what the hell, Lyle? No. Don't be... See, that makes me want to remove that button now. That's too much, man, come on. Now I'm going to have to declare it on tax. You're gonna make me cry, Lyle. Just checking the values of these fuses. T28, happy days. And that's for 230 volts. So it will be a 4 amp for the 100, 120 volt. So let's just raw dog it again. No need for a variate. We'll just monitor the current while we do it and jump for the switch if anything goes wrong. Make sure they're off. Yep. This is a suspect connector. Seems to not want to go on. It's just a bit stuff, as they say in New Zealand. At least the Tone Master owners knew better than to ask. Have you seen the value of Tone Masters now? How low it is? Word's out, and they are dropping in value. Like you buy one and then the next day it's worth a third of what you paid for it. Right, wrong, whatever. People want valve amps. Give the people what they want. Don't try and re-educate them, just give them what they want. Turn the soldering iron off so I don't burn my tips. So, I'll take Michelle out for dinner. I could do that, or I could get a bottle of single malt. Thanks for help the other day. Oh man, I forget what I even helped with. What did I help with, Steve? But thank you. You got a Kitty Hawk from 1984. Have you ever had one of them on the bench? No, I have not. Kitty Hawk. You're gonna have to give me a sec to Google that one. Kitty Hawk. Is it an amp? 1984. That's my vintage. Kitty Hawk. Well, it looks like it's a United States Navy supercarrier. You got one of them? What are you doing on my stream? It'd be worth multiple $1 billion, surely. Kitty Hawk amp, maybe? Oh, okay. So we're talking is that solid state? Looks solid state. Looks like a Mesa wannabe. No, I've never seen that. I think that's going to be... Oh, it's from Germany. It's going to be a US thing. Oh, you got a bottle of Octomore. Oof. Nice. Yeah, no, I'm not getting single malt. I'll take Shell out for dinner. Oh, that's right, James. Using your mate's account. I remember now. Sorry, my memory's like 3 seconds long, eh? Yeah, Octomore is the shit, yo. I've heard there's been 1 or 2 bottlings that weren't great. I think the 10.3 was it? And that's coming from a real connoisseur as well. Not me, my mate. Ooh. Okay, that was a lot of inrush. That was sitting up around 120 watts there for a few seconds. That took quite a bit, and now it's settling to 75 and giving it KT88, sorry. Excuse me. Well, that's why we had the big inrush. But you heard that thump there when I turned it on. KT66s, sorry. I'm getting that Lyle thing where I forget numbers. So that's settled to 73 watts idle. Relays are working. So we'll set everything to 12 o'clock except the master. No input, we'll just have a listen. I saw a spark come from the standby switch then. And we have 100 Hertz hum, regardless of the master volume. So I'm suspecting that's 140 watts it's drawing, which is probably about right for this. I'm suspecting we've got a bit of ripple and possibly some caps that aren't particularly healthy. But I did see a spark come from that standby switch there. Let's have a quick play. See if we can get any ghost notes or anything happening out of it. Do my best, worst Richie Blackmore impersonation. No, I won't. I'll just play a few chords. Interesting. No signal. And now crackling. She's got issues, yo. What am I doing wrong to get no signal? So he didn't mention there was no signal. He just said hum, so I assumed it was still giving signal, but we're getting arc all. Mid boost, nut. We're getting like nothing. So, alright. I like things with definitive problems. We've got no signal, we've got crackling, and we've got hum. let's crack this egg. Bought it after a couple of drinks. Yeah. That sounded like my AC turning on. Yeah, it took a big thump, didn't it? It sounded like when my dad's old stick welder turns on. The energization. Yeah, that's a word. Fuck it. Energization and energizing of the massive transformer. Didn't see the lights dim when the. Yeah, well, these are regulated LEDs, so they don't dim. It kind of takes the fun out of it, doesn't it? I know at home when I've left the coffee machine on, because it draws about 2500 watts. So when the thermostat turns on, you see the lights dim just for a second as the thermostat turns on, and when it turns off, the lights flash brighter for a second. Oh shit, I forgot to turn the coffee machine off. My fillings didn't rattle because I don't have any. We've got fluoride here, and hence my teeth are still in my head. Just a bit of hum is all. The tubes were lighting up, and they are conducting. So I reckon let's have a gamble, eh? No signal at all. So what do we reckon it is? Everyone put up your guesses like they do on the forums. These screws have been reamed out. So someone's been in here before and using a drill, likely. I don't even want to open today, I just want to hang with you champions. Can I just close today? I'll tell them I got COVID. Lyle's got me in a 90s hip hop mood after talking about Public Enemy on his live stream. I'm voting. James is voting preamp tube. I am too. I'm gonna go with that one. I reckon it's a preamp valve. But I want to take it out of the box anyway and have a quick geeze. A lot of techs will just go, change a few valves, that sort's a problem. Alright, job done, out the door. They probably get more jobs done than me, but they probably get a lot more coming back too. I want to visually inspect every amp that I get in. Now there's a bit of... Oh, look at that. So that bass is staying still. That glass is let go. So that's not great. I don't think that's the fault, but what we might do there is some kind of glue. Oh god, what's going to be temperature resistant? Probably inject some silicone down there or something. L7, yeah. That song came on, yeah. L7 were good, those chicks were hot. They were in the spank bank for sure back then. In the 90s. I always liked the rocker, tattooed, badass looking chicks. That's why when Michelle got a nose ring, I was like, ooh, hello. I like the punks and the goths and the freaks, because I'm one of them. Don't have any tattoos yet though, so I let the team down there. I'm just too indecisive. My cousin's a tattoo artist in Melbourne, and he said the way to be different these days is to not get a tat. So I'm going to take these valves out so I can flip it over. I don't even want to grab this one, I'm afraid I'm going to damage it. So L7 would eat me alive. Well, that's what I want. Rude Brad. Naughty Brad. Yeah, L7 were cool. I love 90s shit. It's just when I was born, because everyone loves whatever was around when they were born. But the 90s were just, in my opinion, they were a more fertile music period than the 60s or 70s. There was so much crazy shit happening all at once. Trip hop stuff, and it was all like individual movements. It wasn't just like 70s where it was like rock and, you know, folk was kicking off and pop and that. There was so many niches, industrial, different crazy shit happening all at once. You had these festivals that catered to everyone. They had the boiler rooms where all the pill freaks could hang out and finger fuck each other, and the metal stages and where people belt the shit out of each other, and the punk and hardcore and the chilled out stuff and the folk stages, everything all at the same festival. It was so cool. Alrighty, we've got a little bit of a bulge happening here, not the good type. Some of these caps, I think we've got some fail caps here. Just visually inspecting. This is when I go quiet. Sorry, champs. Some of these screen grids aren't very well seated. Oh man, I miss music stores, man. There used to be like this kick-ass record store, and well, we've got a big chain of massive malls, I guess you'd call them here, called Westfield, and it used to just be called Penrith Plaza. Now it's Penrith Westfield when they bought it, but there was a place in there called Plaza Records. It later got purchased by Leading Edge, another chain. They kind of fucked it, and then it went broke, and then they went bankrupt. But in its golden days, it was like, it was the best shop. You used to just go there and just, we'd be there for hours just looking at every CD, and we had like, you'd go in there, you had like $30 to your name, and you'd have to buy like an EP and a single just to get your fix because you couldn't afford a full album. Good old days. I think I asked to get a job there like 12 times, and they just kept telling me to fuck off because I looked like a little nerd. And the chicks at work there were super hot and all alternative looking, and probably just thought I was trying to crack onto them as a 16-year-old. So I'm going to put the valves back in. I'm going to check for ripple because I don't see anything burnt. There's no major discoloration to any of the droppers or the balance resistors or anything like that. I just want to see which node's got the most ripple on it, basically, and we'll go from there. So let's get to it. I'm just going to be very careful with that valve. It's got the loose base. It's got your usual layer of dust on it that all the Marshalls have. That's really, there's really, it looks dramatic, but it's less than 1/2 mil gap. It's just because they're tapered, it's got a lot of movement. So I could probably get away with some, just worried that cyanoacrylate will soften when you fire it up again. I don't want to replace them if they're fine. I mean, the valves could be imbalanced as well, and that could be the source of the hum as well. So we'll measure that. Gentle, gentle. I've got to open the shop in 15 minutes. I don't want to. I just want to be in my little cave. Fixing things. I think it might be time to start looking at a public-facing assistant, so I don't have to talk to anyone. I can just be in my little box. Oh, they're just big enough. It's getting a bit warm in here. Already at 25 Celsius with all the lights on. Bit of discoloration on the valves, but looks like maybe that one's been running hotter than the others. High temp RTV, yeah, I was thinking that, but I don't think the gap's big enough. It's literally 0.5 mil, and it's hard to get in there. So I think whatever we're gonna have to put in there will have to be semi-wicking to some degree, like 6 iron or acrylate would be perfect, but as long as it stays hard. Maybe I'll give it a dose of Viagra as well to help it along. Alright, we'll get our meters back out. We'll just check side to side. It's got those annoying quick connect things, which actually, you know what, the valve pins themselves extend through the circuit board, so we can just tap into them. It's got three there. It's a bit tricky to get the probe in there without it flying off. It ain't gonna work. Just pull this a bit. So I need some IC clips that have like a larger diameter hook. How you going, Wes? 2-pack resin would be a good idea, George, but I'd have to find something that would be suited to that temperature and non-conductive. The resin I have at home is for woodworking, and it would corrode stuff because it's got a lot of ammonia in it. Oh, what am I doing? I see a red lead and I think that's the plate connection. It's not. Output common. It's blue. So this is the color scheme that Mercury Magnetics used on that Messer. That screwed me over. Wasn't that bad. Only took another, I don't know, 15 minutes. Turn that music down a bit or I'll get a copyright strike again. That's alright, makes you feel like a bad boy. Alright, I think we've got a connection there. Problem with these quick connects is you can just get a lead in there and then you sort of can't get it back down again. What? Oh yeah, that's just a link lead. Right. Is this the same Marshall from a week or two ago? Nope. Haven't looked at this one yet. That Marshall from a week or two ago, I'm waiting for the transformer to arrive because it's got a faulty power transformer and getting a tube amp doctor replacement. I'll put that in, give it a recap, check the valves, give it a service, and then I'll see if I can sneak it past Michelle and take it home. No, I think she's privy to that already, so I'm not going to get away with that. I'm going to have to put that one on the market as well. I wanted to take that Classic 30 home, now that I know it's going to last forever. Back, champions. So, where are we? So we're going to fire this thing up and check for ripple. Alright, so we've got some residual voltage there, which is interesting. No, it's because I'm on the wrong terminal. Would make sense for me to get a schematic out. So I want this white wire over here. What I might do, turn off the bass amp. Don't you like a bit of hum? We had a Fender amps at my school, a deluxe and a Rhodes in '88, in the choir room, a twin and a basement in the band room. Speaking of Rhodes, Dr. Gear, how's that Rhodes restoration treating you? Ooh, one of the arsehole things got through. Let me delete that. How the fuck did you get through, you little fucking prick? Report. Pornography report. Remove. Okay, so my settings must have reverted because I changed all that shit, and YouTube's got this habit of you set a template setting. It goes, yeah, no worries. Every episode you air will have these settings, and then it just forgets it next time you fire it up because it's owned by Google and they don't have to be good anymore. They just have to exist. Because Jeff Bezos got his little cock-shaped rocket, so job done. So I'm going to shove a bot up its own ass, and after I do that, I'm going to check for residual voltage, of which we have none.
How does it come up?
What?
On that?
YouTube?
Yeah.
Just go on to YouTube.
YouTube? Yep.
Yeah, and then go on to Brad's Guitar Garage.
Well, how do I find that?
I don't know. Just do search, and then punch in Brad's Guitar Garage.
That used to be right.
You're fine, mate.
Here we go.
And have a press on that, and then you have to go to my channel. Nope. There we go. There we are. It's going to play an ad.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll go live. You can see my shit talking all morning, mate. I started at 6 AM.
Oh, that's it, yeah.
There you go.
You can see my shit talking all morning, mate.
There you go.
Oh, breathe easy now.
No worries, Baz. Have a good one, mate.
Okay, thanks, Brad.
See ya. Smash that like button, yeah. Right, so I've shoved a little loop of wire in there. Just confirming my primary resistance, 41.4 ohm, 38 ohm. Making glitter tools. What's a glitter tool? Glitter tools for the next Trolls movie. Mate, you're gonna have to tell us what's going on. That's too interesting to just let stand. Are you a prop maker? Alright, so now we've got a little probe point, since that's housed in a house of capacitors. Still got 27 viewers, you loyal legends. Set that, you can see the meters. Put a chopstick under them again to get the reflection. Oh, worse. I'll move the amp forward. There we go, that's a bit better. Visual effects artist. Cool. Alright. Assume that you've come from Big Clive's channel then? Time to boil the kettle. Time for a cup of tea. You're in a B&B in New Orleans. Nice. Huh. Right, so now I'm going to attach our alligator clip again. 6, what's going on, man? Have you done that Rhodes yet? Rhodes. There's a lot of work in that thing. I used to work on Oxford Street. Oxford Street. It's a shadow of its former self. Thanks to Gladys Berra shut everything down, Leon. It's quite glad to see her go, the corrupt arsehole. Set it off. Plug in the power. Now, I haven't looked at the schematic yet. We can probably find out all we need to know without it. I really want to go to New Orleans. It's on my hit list. If I go over there, I'd definitely go on there to check it out. It looks like my kind of area. Alright, so power. Dropping back down as before to about 70 something watts. Oh, sorry, did I miss a comment at 6? Turned into a complete showstopper. Okay, sorry, I didn't know that you were talking about that. I had to speak with the customer last week because it's beyond even my ability. Come on, mate. Get to New Orleans once or twice a year, enough to not feel like a tourist. It's like that with the Blue Mountains here. Yeah, you feel like a bit of a tourist in your own town. And the food scene is incredible. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about, mate. Trying to stay fit. Yeah, stay. Alrighty then. Standby on. Big thumper current. Crackling. Check for ripple. We've got 6 volts of ripple on B+. what do we got on the screens? On the actual screens, 1.4 volts, that's a bit much. Fluctuating. .4. Alright, let's pull the phase inverter. V4. Fire it up again. Still got crackling, still got hum. I think that is coming from the output. Actually, sorry, I pulled V4. Just got to double check that that's the phase inverter. Right, catching up with comments. Sister ran into Harry Shearer at a bar. Cool. French Quarter tourist. Huh. Currently packing to the new workshop, moving to a new location to be closer to customers. Now I've got a bunch of instruments and gear to resurrect and sell. That'll keep you busy. Alright, so I think V3 is the phase inverter on this actually. I think V4, it's hard to tell with multi-layer boards, but the hum is so loud through the stream. Really? It's pretty quiet in person. It's a bit of compression happening maybe. Did I put the compressor on this thing? Filters. Oh yeah, I've got a compressor on it, sorry. I've got a compressor and a limiter. How's that sound without it? I thought that the compressor and limiter would be a good thing, perhaps not. How's that sound now? Too quiet? No, you can deal with some compression. There you go. I'll tell you what, I'll turn the limiter, I'll turn the compressor off and leave the limiter on. How's that sound? I think 6 being another tech is just hum sensitive. I just shut the door because the trucks are pissing me off. Alright, so pulling the PI, I have one moment. Let's do what we should do every time and get an actual schematic, eh? what is it, 2466? Yeah, 2466 model. Open. So it is time for a cup of tea, mate. So everyone boil a kettle. You ready? I'll boil my kettle. Got a bottle of whiskey yesterday. Bit of Gentleman Jack. I think some customers are trying to get on my good side. Well, that's how you do it. Might ring ahead tomorrow and that local tap room around here. Might do a little walk over there and do a bit of a tour for you guys so you can check it out. For 50s wiring, yeah, so do I. ITB, both my humbucker guitars makes a big difference, yeah. The Kinman and Sir TBs are better than the Duncan and most others. I don't like treble bleeds personally because they take the taper off the pot and change the cutoff. I prefer the treble to roll off when I roll back the volume. Each of their own, eh? It does give a bit more of a, you know, blast in your face as you turn it up, which is what you're after. Low impedance pots, where do you find them? You mean low resistance pots? Thought I had another ninja then. Every now and then a customer comes in, sneaks up, and they're standing right fucking here, and I haven't heard a thing. It's like they just go through the glass like in Terminator or something. And just like, oh Jesus. Alright, so where were we with this thing? Let's put in another valve and just see if that crackling's gone. Now I've got the schematic. Wherever it is. Open. So what board am I looking at? 0, 0. What? Marshall and their fucking revisions. All right, so V4 was the phase inverter. So if crackling stops when we pull V3, V3 is the cathode follower. Is it a coincidence? Still got hum. So let's put V3 back in, the original. Just confirm that that's where the crackling's coming from. There is filtering between it and the phase inverter, so I don't see how pulling the phase inverter wouldn't stop it, but pulling the cathode follower would. I think that's just a coincidence. Check the screen voltage, 550, 550, 550, reasonably even. Now one side is drawing way more current than the other. Let's pull back. That wasn't doing that a minute ago. So I reckon we've probably got a bad set of output valves. Where's my trimmer? Let's pull back that bias. Oh, come on. There's always something in the way of something. Pulling that bias right down. Makes the hum go away and nothing else does. So I think that's the output stage having an issue. Pulling the phase inverter doesn't affect it. Pop. The phase inverter does feel remarkably hot. Let's check the plate voltage on that when we have it in. $335, $317, $390, $295 dropping as it conducts, $309. So let's see what it is with the new one in. I think we're definitely up for a new set of output valves. Let's check the grids. Minus 70. Minus 70. Minus 70. Minus 70. So they're all bang on, equal to each other. But then we've got a mismatch bias. So 296, 297, so it's a bit more balanced now. So look, I'm going to factor in a new set of output valves for this. Possibly change those caps. The ripple's not bad. I think most of that hum's coming from imbalance in the output stage plus a bit of ripple. Probably want to we may as well just change those caps, those 6 caps down there, because those ones are starting to bulge a little. That's not great, and we'll change the output valves and probably reassess after that and go from there, because I don't have a spare set of KT66s here if he wants to reuse them. We can get some on order though, so I'll put that one aside for now and carry on to the next tutor. I'm gonna lose my parts, put them away, have a bit of a clean up. It's therapeutic between jobs. If you don't need it potted, you're describing a Seth lover. Who doesn't use potted pickups these days, honestly? People that don't play metal, and we don't talk to them. Do we, Laura? Bare knuckle. Man, they charge a lot for their pickups, eh? It's like pickups cost a lot if you don't make many of them. And to be honest, I find the difference pretty marginal. People make so much of pickups, but yeah, there's a big difference. But when you go to a genre of pickup and you try and, or a brand, say, I don't know, EMG or whatever, and you go in this sort of high gain stuff, from pickup to pickup, there's not a hell of a lot of difference. It's there, but people make, I think, a lot more of it than you sort of should. Alright, so I got this one. I'm just showing you this one, I'm still waiting on parts. Oh, they do not make them light. It's a Mesa Boogie King Snake. Yeah, I forget if this one's a Mark 1 or Mark 2 sort of thing. It's just built like your average Mesa, same old stuff. But it's worth like 8 grand or something. And it's got a faulty switch, and of course they're not your average switch, so you got to order it from Mesa Boogie. So you see there, the switch bat is like machined, so it's got like a ball on the end. So yeah, I had to order the specific switch because no one else makes them. It's got a cool grill cloth, I like that colour. Mark 1 reissue. Right, gotcha. This one's in from mains conversion. So no major Mesa Boogie issues on this one, it's just mains conversion, so we've got a new transformer on order. Everything else is fine, it just needs a new switch and a new power transformer, because that one's not universal. So who knows how long those parts will take to get here, but it's already been a few months. heavy amps, eh? Bloody hell. It's bloody heavy. Need to clear a bit of room for this one. I think that's another customer. No, just next door. So here's my workout for the day. Steve and or James, if that is your real name. Ready? Alright, you guys dial 00, and then when I say dial 0, alright? 2x12. I want combo. Right. So, what's this one in for? I watch 10 to 15 years old. So I've got to swap the speakers, install original speakers back in. They're supplied by the customer. Crackling input jacks are probably just dirty. Although those washers look very compressed. Might be cracked. May have power reduction mod. Assess and provide option for removal. And a service. So I'm going to transfer this to the other bench and pull the chassis. Everyone bitches about how I pronounce it, so I'll just do it wrong on purpose. The hernia channel. I did have a hernia the other week and it just fixed itself. I kept getting calls from the doctor saying, yeah, we're really concerned, like, it sounds like you had a pretty bad hernia. I'm like, it was bad, but it's gone now. And they're like, well, they don't just go. I said, well, it did. And they kept saying, we really want you to come in and check it out. I just said, look, I hate to do this to you, but I just don't have time. I know I probably should, but I'm sorry. I've got 5,000 people calling me every day. My stress levels are more of a concern than my hernia. I'll just strap that fucker back in. And that's what I did. And it just never came back. I don't know. Worry about it when it happens. A bit like messer amps. Worry about it when something goes wrong. I get the weird noises from my crazy mate Mattress, who passed away in 2020. Is the maddest cut snake motherfucker I've ever met. And he'd pick up something heavy, he'd go, and it just sort of spreads. I started doing the same thing because I thought it was funny. He was punk as hell, that dude. Miss him. He'd come to town for a weekend, couldn't get rid of him, and you wouldn't see him for 2 years, and he'd come back just like nothing happened and hang around for a week, and you wouldn't see him for another 2 years. That kind of nomadic type dude. And you'd party like hell when he was in town. Just cancel everything kind of deal. Cancel all your plans, Matt's in town. Mattress. So we're set to 240, that's a good sign. There is some screwdriver damage to the screw fuse holders. We're set to 16 ohms, and we've got two 8 ohm drivers in series, so that's correct. We've got some wiring that needs to be cleaned up. Yeah, where's this health and this physical health and mental health? I was dealing with the mental health at the time. And the physical health took a back seat. Customer. I'll bring this back over here, champions, because I want to show you something. So these have a sort of drawer system. The chassis screws to this piece of ply, and then you slide it in. It's got like runners in here, and then you screw that piece of ply up to the cabinet, and that secures it. Problem is here, I'm having trouble getting this out because whoever fixed this panel back onto the chassis did it upside down. So it's got little, you can see little grooves here on the bottom of that ply. Now that is allowance for, you can see they're lined up with the screws on the handles. So that's clearance for the screw, the handle screws. Now there's no clearance, so that piece is jammed in there tight, and it's very hard to get out. And you can see the screws for the chassis are countersunk or counterbored on this side, so there's clearance. They're not on this side, so now those screws are jammed up against this cabinet, as the top of the cabinet as well. So this is going to take some getting out. Now interestingly here, they've left the empty valve sockets open, so you can stick your finger in there and access high voltage rather easily. Now it's got a back cover on it, but it's only a few screws to remove that, so you'd like to see some caps on those, which there is on subsequent models. So at the moment it's got a Vox El Nico here and a Scumbag, so I'm taking them out. I'm using this in another amp, which you'll see shortly, and this one's going back in a box. It's going back in a box, going home in a box. So wow. Now I'm going to do a lot of swearing as we attempt to remove this thing. Now I don't think the handle screws are the main thing putting up the fight, it's the chassis screws themselves. Oh man, like it is, I don't know that this is going to be removable. And yeah, inverted clamp sticks, but where do I put them? Do I put them where you got to slide the thing out? Do you put them in the front? You probably put them in the front, but its effect would be limited because we're trying to separate it at the back. Like, I'm feeling the transformer move on the chassis before the bit of ply is moving. So how do we get around this?
Every job has got
some time-consuming complication, it seems. So let's have a cup of tea and think about it. I think we'll take the handle screws out just to remove them from the equation. Are they screwed from this side, the top? I believe so. Front and back lips. You just keep your front and back lips to yourself, Six. I want to know about your front and back lips. Alright, so they fold up. Sweet as. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 different types of screw. That's interesting. So I'm wondering if maybe these are too long. It went in, so hopefully it comes back out. Yeah, well, that's the theory, eh? Alrighty. already as wide as we can go. So anyway, what's everyone up to this weekend? Well, we're doing boring, frustrating work. I know what Six is doing, he's moving. So you're going to have a grand opening, Six? You're going to have a falafel van or something? Dairy floss vendor? Petting zoo? If you got a petting zoo, I'm there. Who can resist fluffy ducks? My God, man. That is so tight. It's not even moving at all. Oh, yeah. What the hell? There's nothing to grab it by except the transformers. I think this is going to give me a hernia more than lifting the fucking thing. What was that movement? Yeah, fuck it. Man, I think I need a wedge or something. Dinosaur petting zoo. Yeah, well, ducks are dinosaurs. They survived. Oh, I've got a bit of hardwood here. See if we can jam that in. Something flat, thin yet hard. Gotcha. Alright, so we've got a bit of hardwood jammed in there. Probably wouldn't want to pet an ostrich. They are mean. Come on, man. Ostriches are just like pansy emus. They're just like dandy boy emus. My God, man. My God, man. Working up a sweat here. We haven't moved 1 inch, let alone 1 millimeter. Oh, come on, you fucker. Someone asked Lyle if he swears while he's working. What kind of question is that? He's a tech. Can't undo that cleat because that's glued. That cleat is screwed. We might be able to get the right angle screwdriver in there. I don't know about this story. What happened to Johnny Cash when an ostrich is pissed off? I'm unaware. Ostrich and Merino. Alright, so my little tool here might work. There is a cleat that's screwed in place. Still
still jammed up against the front, the rear cleat that the back panels screw into, but if we can get a bit less friction happening, a little bit of movement, we might be able to get some more movement. Torn open from sternum to pelvis? What? That's not what killed him. Is that what killed him? I thought he just died because he was old. How do I not know what killed Johnny Cash? What killed? I'm not really a Johnny Cash fan. What killed Johnny Cash? Diabetes. What were Johnny Cash's last words? His last words were rumoured to be, "I hear that train are coming." Oh, come on, bullshit. I call bullshit. It led to his painkiller addiction. Yeah, it had nothing to do with being on the road. I really hate his version of Hurt. Everyone loves it and thinks it's his song. I'm like, man, that must piss Trent Reznor off. Yeah, well, he's the one that signed the royalty checks. So one of the JJs looks discoloured in the logo. His last word was bourbon. Yeah. Do any of you Americans know who Slim Dusty is? No Googling. I just want to know who knows. Yeah, Trent Reznor's crying from all the money he received. Yeah, I think Trent's pretty partial to the old payday. Who isn't? Alright, is that giving us any more movement? No slim pickings. Alright, so there's two screws. I've released them and there is zero movement, so it must be glued as well. How did they get this thing in? Honestly, I must have had to hammer the living fuck out of it. Alright, I need more wood. Alright, I can see in there a bit now. I'll see what else is jamming it up, or if it's just those screw heads. Oh man. You can see where they've torn it up on the way in. And the ones at the rear are the worst. I don't see how we're going to get this out at all. No, he was not the Timey Kangaroo Down singer. That was a rapist known as, what's his name? Who gives a shit? Rolf Harris. He tied more than a kangaroo down, I'll tell you that much.
So it's like with high watts. Well, with this high watt, it's like you've got to pass a IQ test to get into it. Let's see if we pass it. Oh, that cleat let go. That might give us some clearance. I'll see if the other one does the same. I don't think you have to tie down wallabies. Hey, there we go. Must have just been stuck from the paint. Good morning, Thom. Tom, I'm just being facetious. Just being fecy-ish. Sorry guys, I thought this might be an interesting stream, but no. No such luck. Pub now? It's midday yet. One click at a time. Slow going. Because I can't get both hands in there. Oh, can I? Yep, 2 clicks now. Oh, come on. So you may have spotted on the back of this Vox speaker, designed for JMI. We have a JMI Vox here as well. Hey guys. Got my hand in an amp. What were we saying, 6, about being wrist deep in an amp? Gotcha. Yeah, this is why amp repair costs a bit. Because during all these minutes I am paying rent. Right, let's see if that's giving us any movement. It doesn't feel like it. Oh, we moved 1 millimeter. You hear that clunk? Oh my god. Why's everything gotta be a fucking struggle? Fuck. I'm gonna take my watch off. I'm gonna destroy it. Don't normally wear a watch, but been very time poor, so I'm trying to be a bit less so by scheduling things. Nope, 1 more millimeter. 1 more. Come on. Now it's going to want to fall down. Okay, gets past that cleat. Because there's no horizontal cleat yet. No, it's Friday in Australia. We don't all cater to you seppos. There are different time zones in the world, you know. You just do your head maths, head calculations. Alright, I think we're free. So I'm going to put it on its side. See if that's any easier. Not. Just check I'm not damaging that front panel. Because everything's jammed in so tight. Hello. Ow! I think I can pull that spacer out now. Yeah, we've got some movement. Just be careful. Alright, that front panel's clear now. I think we've got some foil coming with us. Oh my god. I hope you're enjoying this, because I'm not. Alright, first run of screws is free. Hope you guys are timing this. Alright, up to the last screw, so. And then she's out. Bloody hell. Alright, get rid of the cab. Oh, I'll show you the inside. So of course there's a little bit of damage. Luckily not really to the Tolex, but back here in the ply we'll just run a bit of stain over that or something so it doesn't draw the eye in if someone removes it in the future. And there's a bit of damage to the ply down here, it's delaminated. So I'll glue that back down. But essentially I think we've gotten away relatively lightly. We'll change those speakers out when it comes to it. So there they are. No, the nameplate wasn't holding on, it was just those screws jammed into the top. As you can see there, it's left little tracks. So yeah, I mean the nameplate was tight, but it's about flush with the chassis. So I'm reaching for the handle that I've taken off. Get rid of that. In the storeroom with you. Back to the amp. So now, of course, the screws are all filled with wood bits. Get them out with some tweezers, not too bad. Just lean that forwards through our number 3 Phillips. I'll show you the way there. See, they weren't even tight. So it wasn't. Were those Messer no rattle screws? No, they were not. That's a cute solution to a rattle though, isn't it? Instead of designing it properly, just and not using those stupid plastic nylon standoffs, just put a big honking screw through the thing and fucking drive it into the foil and make the foil fall off into the chassis from the factory. Real smart Messer. So this plate is supposed to be like that, and the screws will be in those little cups. You'll be able to slide it in and out easily, and then that routed slot would clear the handle screws. So that's the way we'll put it back in once we're done. I'll grab me little blocks. Might need bigger blocks for this one. No, they're good. Ooh. Ooh. Hang on, let's flip it around. Already seeing some funkiness. So, someone has decided that they're going to modify it. And I'll have to trace that out and see what even the hell it is. Oh, you want me to manual focus you as well as manual expose you in auto mode, you stupid camera. Oh, went too far, that's why. Really? That's better. Give you a bit more light, champions. How's that look? So we've got a couple of carbon film resistors here. Lodged in. So that looks like some attenuation on the control grids. Something. Not sure which turret's which, but yeah. Looks like there's some pretty average tack soldering that's taken place on this this cap here as well. Yeah, so there's a bit of weirdness in this one. Looks like that's the only sort of mods there though in the output stage. So what was the report again? I've already forgotten what we're looking at. So we've got speaker swap, yep, crackling, input jacks, yep, and remove power mod. So that's probably what he's referring to there. One moment, champions. Yeah, where were we? So yeah, I can reverse that. There's no biggie there. There's not any real major work required there. I've just got to check out visually what it did look like. There's a cap to ground there, which I don't think's original. So basically I'm going to return this to stock. Looks like someone has possibly reworked some stuff in the impedance switch, because there's some melted insulation and stuff there that doesn't look great. It doesn't look like factory. So you can tell like factory, non-factory, right? There's quite a difference in the sort of just the soldering quality, just the workmanship in general. Workmanship. You can see down here everything's, you know, what you come to expect from a high watt. And at the back it is not. So we'll revert the stuff at the back to be like the stuff at the front. But I might fire it up and give it a quick listen, see if there's any other issues. The Crackling Jacks, sounds like a band name. The Crackling Jacks. That'd be a good name for a band made up of amp technicians. Plug this thing in. I'll check the fuses, sorry. Those valves sound pretty rattly too. Yeah, JJ's, what do you expect? Is that one resistor floating in the breeze, or did they not clip any of the leads? They just tack soldered them and they're floating in midair, yeah. Sounds like a serial. The Crackling Jacks. sounds like there's a bit of a resurgence in sort of Americana-y country type music over here. So you might have seen a while back I installed a PA system in a pub in the new pub in the city on York Street called Jolene's. Hopefully Dolly Parton doesn't sue them. It's always in the back of their mind. But they get a lot of country bands through there with names that you can imagine, like Crackling Jacks. So we're pretty lucky we didn't damage the front panel on this one because it was in there so tight, and then it sort of would have been on me even though it was sort of out of my control. Both the fuses are good. 3.15 amp.
Sounds about right. Oh, it was probably a bit high actually, 3 amp. But that's what it says on the back.
Didn't check the current rating of the other one. Slow blow 1 amp. Who doesn't love a slow blow? Alright, so we'll have a quick listen.
They just paralleled. Nope. Oh yeah. 16 ohm, yep.
See if this is a brutal, loud thing like they all are. Everything 12 o'clock except the master. Bang. Went up to 100 watts, dropping down to 50, 40, 38, 36. Stabilising at 36 watts in standby. Oh, still got sand in my shorts. It's a reminder of your recent holiday. Should have turned them inside out when I washed them. Take it out of standby. Stabilizing around 108 watts. So a bit warm for L34s. Let's have a quick listen. Standby off. Going bright. Bitey. Something's microphonic. So that jack's a bit crackly. That's the shorting jack because it's going between two levels of attenuation. Yeah. Well, it's pretty easy, Wes. This one doesn't try to be everything to everyone. Buy a high watt if you want a high watt. Rest in peace, ears. Alright, so jack's replaced, cleaned. If they can't be cleaned, we'll replace. And let's check for that microphonic behaviour. A little bit of hum there. Okay, that's that jack. It's not reliably grounding. To put pressure on the shorting jack. I keep saying that, the shorting contact. But it sounds like there's some valve microphonics as well. V1 you could expect. Looks like a Ruby, whatever they are. That's cranked, mind you. Yeah, so I think it's mainly that one. Very sensitive. Just change that out. I'll put the JJ in the other one. One moment. We'll put in a known decent JJ. Oh, it helps if you take the old one out first, doesn't it? Okay, so they're just the generic Chinese ones. Sockets aren't the tightest. Let that warm up. A lot quieter. That's everything all the way. Almost no microphonics at all, which is why I keep that one on the bench for testing. So being a combo, I'd advise replacing that V1 because that could actually feed back if it's right next to the speakers. But I think we've got enough to quote that one. Again, it's just guesstimation. Get it within 20% or so of the final cost. And if there's any, like, not this job, but if there's any other additional costs, I'll go to the customer before just pushing ahead with it. That's weird. That valve is slightly conical. Never really seen that before. It's probably hard to make out, but it's fatter at the base than it is at the top. It's like one of those funny cigars that have green stuff in them. One moment. $21, $22. The eyes do not lie. It's 22 mil wide at the bottom, and it's below 21 mil at the top. Well, I'll be damned. Chinese QC. It's probably rattling because the bottom mic is not even touching the glass. Yeah, it's not either. That's awesome. Well, yeah, you can see you've seen a conical valve. Alright, so let's put that one aside and shoot him a price on that. Put that old valve back in. We'll turn that bias down quite a bit too, because they're ripping hot. I haven't taken accurate measurements, but yeah, I think they're pushing more like 95%, 90% going off the wall power usage compared between standby and in play. You know what? If I keep going for another hour and a half, my scheduled video will come out while I'm doing a live stream, I think. Or is that coming out Saturday? No, I think that's Saturday. Spacing them out a bit, I don't want to flood yous. Get sick of looking at me. Speaking of looking at me, there are a lot of comments on Lyle's last stream about the way he looks. He's got plenty of streams where you can see his face, but I guess newcomers. Big Clive gets that a lot too, because you only ever see his hands, but on his live channel, Big Clive Live, you always see his face. But your average YouTube plebs who come across and only realise what he looks like after been listening to his hands for 12 months, they get a shock. It's like you're at fault because you don't look the way that they want you to look in their head. So in that respect, I'm kind of glad that I always had my face up in the corner. Wes, if you want to copyright the term Shazzy, I think I have plenty of women called Sharon over here that will take your head off if you try and challenge them on that one. Shazzy is what we call women named Sharon or Cherie or pretty much anything starting with an S. What's next, champions? Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's next, champions? Box. JMI. Can't see anything anyway. Let's turn it around. You got loose piping. We've got an aftermarket top boost made by, I think, some local champions that are pretty good at what they do. According to the customer, he gave us some intel on that one. You've got a rotary switch voltage selector. I don't think I've seen one of them before. I've seen the plug that you pull out and plug in. Everything feels a bit loose. The top panel is a bit, how you going? None of the pots are seized, so that's cool. You got your 6 inputs there. Let's put her on its face. See if we can get you guys a decent view of the chassis. Okay, so this has got 1 Vox in it and 1 scumbag, so we're going to take that scumbag out, dirty scumbag, and put the Vox in the high watt back in this one, and then we've got the 2 fanes to put back in the high watt. We've got strip screws, that's nice. No need to unscrew them, just pull them out. It's handy. Interesting. Oh, that one needs some unscrewing. It's the one into the chassis, not the cleat. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I don't think Lyle's arrogant at all. He's just time poor. A lot of the time you've got to spend with guitarists, they're a little bit precious about either their purchase or their tone or whatever. You often have to waste time with niceties and working your way to a trying to think of the word, a subtle way of saying stuff, whereas Lyle doesn't have time for that. He just says it. Take it how you want to take it, but all the information's there. Process it how you may, but you've got the information. And that's how he does biz, and I respect that. And I think any customer's worth hanging on to will as well. Alright, so I've got the top boost circuit there. We'll check all of that out. Got some sketchy looking wiring as always. We've got a got a ground connection. No. We've got a connection there that just let go as I touched it, so that's cool. That was probably the main fault, but now everything in that area is suspect. We've got a silver mica whose lead is almost touching a chassis screw. Got lots of melted wire, lots and lots of melted insulation, odd pots, cleaning goo residue everywhere, heat shrunk stuff with who knows what soldering connection underneath because they've nipped it with pliers while it was melted. You've got a decent ground connection, that's good. You've got silicon caps, radials. Looks like they've replaced one of the stock chassis mounted caps with a radial, 2 radials, sorry. It's kind of hard to see because I've got it over here so you guys can see, but that means I can't see it. I need like a little stool or something. 1 minute. Alright, got my microphone case. So what else can we see? Yes, that is a lock washer floating around in there.
Well spotted. Yeah, look at that. There we go. Well, put that aside. It's the part where you get to stare at the back of my head. We've got a screw almost severing those wires because it's too long, although it does look stock. It's almost severing the secondary wires coming out of the transformer. Yeah, it's got the same speaker combo as the other one because they took one Vox out and put it in the high watt, and then got two scumbacks, put one in here, one in there, because they use it for recording. So then they've got a choice of two speakers to mic up. Yeah, there is a lot of melted wire in here, and that takes quite a bit of effort and labour to replace. I think we can slip this top boost out just with that bottom screw, so we'll try that. I was reading that some bands are using using auto/home audio speakers in the stage gear. Have you encountered that? Is it worth a try? It's not worth a try, but I have encountered that. They're not voiced for that. Home audio, unless you're into the really nice stuff, is invariably really shit drivers. Not very sensitive. Generally, they don't have the upper mid-range capabilities the guitar speaker has. And for bass guitar, they don't have the damping, so they'll destroy themselves with the rubber surrounds. They're just not suited to it, mate. And car audio speakers are some of the worst speakers in the world. They're just pretty and bright green and shit. Alright, so there's the top boost circle. Let's zoom in. So a lot of just point to point type work. No securing of any components, so everything's sort of flapping around. So we might address that with some silicon. Got this really thick spaghetti on everything, which I don't know, just makes everything a bit more difficult to work on because there's just no room. But, you know, might function perfectly, but at least now we can look underneath. So let's look underneath. And we've got the filtering there from the trim. I'll get my little stool out again. Couple of film caps replaced. So probably had some leakage there at some point. Looks like they are. What am I trying to say? I don't know. Yeah, the problem with working on these is as soon as you desolder a wire, the insulation sort of melts straight away. You've got to be very quick. Get in there, remove the wire, let it cool down, have a few goes at it, just so you don't melt the insulation, and don't grab it with pliers by the insulation because you've just destroyed it. Yeah, a fair bit of this could be rerouted. It's all solid core. Yeah. So this is probably going to be the big one. There's a lot of
A lot of areas. Sorry, I'll zoom out. I just realised I'll zoom right in there. That cap, the actual lead, you can see is moving in the end. That's not great. So that's probably, it's cracked anyway. It's a Weimer. So I'd say we replace that one. It's very melted there. You got to try and keep heat away from film caps like that. It's not a good idea to heat them up too much. It melts the film. It's got a whole bunch of stuff that's just so close to shorting out. You just touch it and it would short out. So I think I might rerun that bus wire because it's been mangled a bit. Just going to be a lot of rewiring on this one, I think. Just cleaning everything up, possibly a recap. So it's involved in sliding the chassis out. There's a mod here of some sort, but that can come with us. There's a speaker jack, so they're probably using this in multiple other speakers. Oh, it's got the original foot switch. Oh, sorry, that would be the foot switch. Yeah, duh. All right, so they've got that on a jack, on a sort of pigtail thing. So I think we can get rid of the cab. We can slide this out and have a look at the power amplifier and power supply section. So let's do it. I'll just sit this back in situ. Alright, we'll get it on the other bench. Get another hernia. Alright, so this one's already been recapped. Well, that cap. The other one's placed as well. It's got, that's interesting, it's got shields there. They look like the MiG shields. They've got Russian writing on them. It says 394. I remember the vents in the bottom of the MiG ones. Put that back on there for now. Got some Tesla EL84s. You've got a very rattly JJ's GZ34, GZ34, and you've got all Woden transformers in choke. So there you go. Let's flip it over. Get some. These are a bit tricky. You've got to get two different size blocks, and then the controls are facing down, so it's not really conducive to running while testing. It's about right. It's about 10 mil out, whatever. There we go, it can sit on the choke. What do I think about this style of board, first eyelet versus PCB? I'm always going to go for PCB. It's 2022, man. Just design them properly and don't skimp. The only reason PCBs have a bad rap is because people skimp on them or don't know how to design them. NASA use PCBs in fucking spaceships, man. Like, come on. But NASA don't use point-to-point, do they? Well, not anymore. Alright, so we've got some rework here. This actually looks a bit nicer done than the other stuff. Still got hot snot, which I'm not a fan of. The biggest issue I've had with these, and it wasn't the Woden transformer, so we might be alright on this. But the wiring seems to corrode internally. Maybe someone's had a problem with that because you can see it's extended. Air centered. Yes, there's not a lot going on in the power side and the output side. You got your 47 ohmer there. See, I think all of this has been redone. They're more modern resistors. Definitely the caps have been redone, but all the work in here looks like it happened at one point, and all the work on the other side looks like it happened in various stages. So this is going to require a bit of dart throwing, this one, because it's going to be one of those jobs that sucks a good several days, but you can't really charge $3 grand for. So you sort of have to do it in fits and starts and fit it around other urgent jobs and whatever, and make it practical to do without charging the full rate, hourly rate. Good thing I love the job. So yeah, I might put that aside, and I'm gonna have to start a list, and that doesn't make for very good video. Nope, more phone calls. Sending messages. Voicemail. No, that's what you're there for. Do I ever use amp cradles? No, I do not. It's just another thing you've got to adjust and calibrate and modify to work like it advertises. And if I was going to make one, I'd design one from scratch and get my brother to cut it on the CNC. Just give him the CAD files. Maybe I should make amp cradles for a living. Like I haven't got enough projects. Well, it's 10:55, champions. I think I'm going to call it, because next I've got a job which is not conducive to video either. Let's take you off the little clippy. So it is. Oh, I'm upside down. Shit. It's over there. It's a Yamaha Clavinova. So I've got to take that thing apart. It's way bigger than it looks there too. It's like 2 meters long. And figure out what the hell's going on, because it works fine until you turn the reverb on. So the DSP, whatever chip is controlling the reverb, is freaking out. So anyway, I'll stick you back on the little stand here. And forget how to tighten it. What the hell? I remember now. Yeah, get on there, you arsehole. Right. So I'm going to take off and do a bit of paperwork and then get into that thing and have some lunch and contemplate life. So thanks for joining us, legends. I'm going to take off. Keep an eye out. I think tomorrow around midday Australian Eastern Standard Time, no, Daylight Time, is when the next video is coming out, and then there'll be another one on Monday already in the pipeline, mate. Don't even have to do anything. You know, I could go on holidays again and you'll still keep getting videos drip fed to you. So take it squeezy. Thanks for joining us. See you on the next one.